today we're going to do something that I haven't done here. We're going to do a love read. I've got 2 tarot decks today, so we're going to do a love read for those who are single on their own, and we're going to do a love read for those in relationships, and we're just going to see what messages come up. I've been really called to love messages recently, and I was going to do one yesterday, but a different message came through. I don't want to fall back into that cactus by mistake and really injure myself. Hello, my name's Hannah. Welcome to my channel. I'm sitting in the winter sun trying to get as much sun as I can because it's very, very cold here and it's bumming me out. So I'm sitting in the grass. I'm trying to get some sun. I know I've got sunnies on. It's not the best to do reads with sunnies on, but otherwise I just squint and I need the sun today. Anyway, so whatever you resonate with, if you're on your own or you're in something that's, I don't know, you wouldn't define as a relationship, we're going to do a single spread and then we're going to do a relationship spread. Again, use your discernment. If this message finds you, I believe that it's for you, but it's not going to resonate with everyone, right? How can it? So if it resonates for you, fantastic. If it doesn't, let it go. So I'm doing the single one first. Yeah, this is what I've been called to. So let's see the messages that come out. Okay, so if you're single, these are the messages that are coming through. Okay, so we have 5 of Cups to start with. So 5 of Cups is a heavier card, right? 4 is stability and security. 5 is the breaking of that stability, right? You're bringing in a new element. So 5's are tricky cards. 5 of Chalices are, you might be in a dark place. You might be feeling a bit stagnant emotionally. You might really want someone in your life, but you might be finding it hard to meet them, or you might be finding it hard to process past relationships, and you might not even realize that you're stuck in a little bit of they say stagnant waters, really. That's what the 5 of Cups really is. It's stagnant water. And it's, very much about dealing with like loss and regret. So you might be really hyper focused on a past relationship that's making it hard for you to be open to something new, right? That's I've pulled on the left. So that could just be where you're coming from in the past, in the most recent past, in the further past. That could just be something there that you've been working on, you've been processing, right? We all know that it's hard to get into a new healthy relationship if we're still caught up in the loss and the regret of a past relationship, right? But the moon has come into your center, right? So the moon is all about illusions, what we're not seeing clearly, right? So there's 2 real meanings with the moon. A message to go deep into your intuition. The moon is primordial. It's this representation of the primordial waters, where our intuition lies inside us. But it's also about not seeing things clearly, illusions. What aren't we seeing? Also about gestation, which is very similar with the 5 of Cups. So in this way, I feel like what you're caught on, what you can't get over, what you are still trying to process, what you're stuck in, you might not be seeing very clearly. You might be seeing it as something that it not really is. You are stuck in something. You're stuck in something, and it's not enabling you to move forward, right? It doesn't mean that just because you're single, you're looking for a relationship, but it might mean that you feel like you don't necessarily feel like you're free, like you're enjoying your single life, and if you are looking for someone and you're like, why aren't they here? Why aren't they coming? It might be that you're not focusing on the things you should be focusing on. You're looking back, you're focusing on loss, you're not looking forward, and you're not seeing things clearly. You're not making the path open to bring someone in. A lot of the time we don't even realize that, that it's like, we are all energy, we are all energy, and it's like the energy you put out is what you get back in, and you really see that. You go out and you go for a walk and you're vibing and you say hello to everyone, and everyone seems to say hello to you, and then you go out and you feel really moody and pissed off, and it's like everyone else seems moody and pissed off, you know what I mean? We are mirrors and reflections, but it's like there's a little bit of like, there's stuckness here in terms of your emotional world. You know, we pulled 5 of Cups. That's your emotional world, your relationship. So you feel a bit stuck. You feel a bit lost. You're maybe hyper-focused on something that didn't work out. And maybe you're berating yourself for that, or you're stuck in that kind of narrative. And it's not allowing you to see clearly. You know, it's not allowing you to see clearly. But what's coming is 6 of Wands, right? So 6 of Wands is hard gain victories. So in terms of a love message, we can really see this like I would say what you want and what you're working on. Oh, the sun's gone away. What you like and what you're working on is it's coming. I pulled this in the right, yes, this is like your near future. Obviously we all have free will, right, but the cards just read the energy now. So I feel like if you're single and you're really looking for someone, you've been kind of stuck in a place of stagnant waters. You've been hyper-focused on things that haven't worked out in the past. And then you've been bringing that forward into your present. And that's why the moon's here. It's like you're not seeing things clearly, you know what I mean? You're not allowing for new possibilities to come in because you're stuck in the past, right? But in the future, it's 6 of Wands, which is like hard gain wins. And if we're talking about hard gain wins and you really want someone, maybe this is something that like, you're going to process this and something beautiful is going to come from this, right? And even if this is really just about you wanting to enjoy being on your own, I feel like that's coming for you. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, as we said yesterday in that message, the Sagittarius full moon, you know, nature has a way of balancing things out. We had the Scorpio full moon and it was a heavy time. Everyone was going through a heavy time. And now it's Sagittarius full moon. And it's like, that's the alchemist. It's like turning the dark into light. This spread kind of mirrors that in terms of love, you know? Having a hard time, focused on loss, focused on grief, focused on what went wrong, really hyperfixated in that space, and then maybe that has really not allowed you to see things clearly as they are now, you know, to process it with not processing it. You know, someone said that to me this morning, process things with not processing them. And I think that means not getting hyperfixated on it, getting in a place of peace in your body and then just letting things go. You know, that's what your moon might be telling as well. The thing that you can't see clearly is that the hyperfixation on it, the thinking about it all the time, the wallowing in it is not helping. That's not what's going to clear. But there is relief coming. There's something really good coming, something hard won. You know, something that you've worked really hard for is going to be won. You know, that's coming around the corner. So whatever that means for you as a single person, if that means enjoying a single life or maybe inviting someone new, there seems like there's a positive energy in your near future, right? So that was for single people. Now I'm going to do for those of you in a relationship, right? So this could be a new relationship, it can be an old relationship, it can be a relationship that's going really well or something that feels a bit stagnant, or, you know, something that you've been fighting a lot, or something that's new and exciting, whatever it is. You've come here, the video has found you, so let's see what the message is. You know, messages can be interpreted heaps of ways, you know. Sometimes I pull cards for people and they're like, I know that's exactly what it's about. Sometimes I pull cards and I'm like, I know the card meaning, but I'm like, for you it means something different, you know. So let's see what the message is here. For you, we have 2 of Pentacles, right? So everything goes up and down. This is a theme that's come out a lot, yeah. In terms of a relationship, we're thinking maybe you're in a low point and you're struggling with it. You feel like you're fighting all the time and you're arguing about domestic work and finance and home, you know, because Pentacles is that kind of material realm. And that's frustrating you, you know, and you feel like, oh, what's going on here? Maybe you're in a really good point and you feel like you're gelling and you understand each other and things are going really well. But this is really a message that it will always go up and down, yeah? Nothing is perfect. It doesn't matter what choices you make. It will always be up and down. So that's a real message of that. So I think that's just like, get ready to ride the waves, yeah? Especially in long-term relationships. I've been with my husband for 10 years. It is up and down. What defines the relationship is how you roll with that, yeah? How you roll with that. Can you hold it? Can you listen to each other? Can you try and change things that you can change, and then accept things that you can't change? You know, that's very much the 2 of Pentacles, you know what I mean? It's like in a relationship, you're not going to get someone that pleases you all the time, that does everything right, that reads your mind. But what are you willing to sacrifice? You know, are you willing to let, you know, for instance, my husband, he's like, he leaves the lights on in the house all the time and he's not as tidy as I am, right? But it's like, you accept that, you make that sacrifice, yeah, because That's what it's about, you know. You sacrifice some things and then you gain other things, you know. So then we've got 9 of Swords, which is a bit of a heavier card. It's a bit of a nightmare card, yeah. It's a card that's like you are in your head, lost in your anxieties and stresses and concerns, yeah, and it feels very insular and maybe a bit alone. So you might be going through things in your head. You could be worried about the relationship itself, or you may just be worried about life. Maybe life's just getting you down. You're worried about your work, you're worried about friends, you're worried about money, whatever, but you're a little bit trapped in your mind. And it's making you feel a bit alone and isolated. So it might be to do with the relationship, but it also might be completely on its own, but that's impacting the relationship. And that also might be to do with 2 of Pentacles. You might be going through a down point, but it might not necessarily be linked to the relationship. It might be what's going on in your own head. What's going on in your own head? You know, when you're stressed out, when you're engaging all your nightmares, you become snappy, yeah? You're a live wire, you know, you're quick to jump. And are you stressed out all the time at work? Are you hyper fixated on things that you think aren't good about yourself? You know what I mean? And then how is this affecting that relationship? Yeah. And then Judgment, the reckoning, the awakening. You know, this is like big realizations. This is what Judgment is, yeah. It's big realizations. It's like she wears a white gown, so it's purification, which means that she's gone through some things and she's come to understand things clearer. So in terms of relationship, this could be the process that you're in at the moment. It's like you're going through your ups and downs. Maybe you are affecting that more than you think. Maybe it's not so to do with the relationship. Maybe it's to do with your own mind and the stresses and the anxieties that you're engaging with. But maybe this whole process that you're going through is going to come out in a way that like shows you some big answers. You know, maybe you're going through some realizations. You know, sometimes I find when my partner and I are fighting a lot, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can see that this is what this comes from. Like there is a big realization, you know what I mean? An awakening. That's what Judgment means, right? It's really about where it resonates with you. You know, maybe you're up, maybe you're down, but I feel like because it was pulled next to the 9 of Swords, maybe you are down. Maybe you feel like there is a lot of fighting and you can't communicate right. And even though sometimes it feels smooth and you feel like you're arguing again and you get in your head about things, and then on top of that, you're worried about your other concerns, you know, the daily concerns, money, work, friends, and then you're worried about maybe your own image and your status and, you know, anxieties around whatever, not being liked, you know, it's endless, the possibilities. So maybe that's also rocking the boat, you know what I mean? It's like because you don't feel at peace with yourself. But there's going to be some big awakenings, whatever that means. There's going to be some big realizations, which means that you might be in the process of working through these things, but you can't see that yet. And then that might mean that it opens up this relationship more. It allows you to hold the dark and the light. It allows you to realize that the dark is a portal to a higher timeline, you know what I mean, in terms of the relationship. So, yeah, take note of what you've been thinking about. Take note of what's on your mind all the time. Where are you hyper-focused? Where are you putting all your energy on? And then maybe see that seeds are starting to bloom where you're going to have some big realizations, you know? What do you really want? Like, what do you want in the relationship? What keeps failing? What don't you seem to be matched up on? What is something that really matters to you? What's the battle worth fighting for? And what's the battles that are best left? You know, choose your battles. You know, you've got to choose your battles when you're in a relationship, you know. You could fight them on everything, you know, especially after 10 years in a domestic space, you know what I mean? But it's like, what do you want to choose to work with them? And then what is this time trying to teach you? What are these big realizations you're having? And this is really about yourself, right? You know, this is realizations with yourself. Oh, what are you starting to realize? Oh, maybe I do this, or maybe I do that, or maybe we're in a pattern like this and this isn't working for us. You know what I mean? This is a good thing. Judgment's a good thing. It's like the second last card of the major arcana. So it's kind of like after Judgment comes the World. It's like when you realize that everything's kind of working together, right? So you're at that point in the very near future that it's like these big realizations. So maybe at the moment in a relationship you're starting, even though you feel lost in your fears, maybe it's like it's starting to show that it's like, oh, these are the patterns we're engaged in and this isn't good for us and we need to move towards this. Because if we all give up on things when they get hard, we're not going to stick to anything, right? So I feel like the Two of Pentacles is that lesson. It's like, hey, it's okay that things go up and down. That's life, you know. What are you in your head about? What are you putting your focus on it? You know, where are you stuck? And what isn't working and what's working, you know? And then there's going to be some big realizations in this relationship, right? That I think will help you level up in terms of a timeline. You know, this is really Sagittarius full moon. It's like transmuting the dark into light, you know. This is alchemy. This is like powerful magic, you know, and it fits in terms of Sagittarius. That all my reads recently are like this. A dark time sits in the past, and like, what are you going to do with that? You know, how are you going to work it? How are you going to make it? How are you going to learn from it? How's it going to help you? You know, how are you going to have these realizations? Okay, this is what I do. This is a pattern that we're in and it doesn't work for us. So how can we change that, you know? It's a beautiful thing to be able to work with someone on something, you know? And you quilt it, you know, it's a patchwork. So they were my single messages and my messages for those in a relationship. I hope it resonated. If it didn't, no worries. And I will see you next time.